Hello, it's Tom again. Today's DIY video is making bait stations for ants. The goal is to deal with an ant problem without having to poison the ground itself. We're going to use what I believe is a less invasive poison method that doesn't involve, less invasive to the environment than, like, say, a lot of the chemicals you can buy at a hardware store designed to kill a spectrum of insects that you just spread in a granular form and they seep into the ground. I'm trying to avoid the ground seepage. So what I have here first is a farmer style bait station I made out of PVC. The two screws here to help hold it upright. If you choose to make one of these yourselves, I'd recommend, instead of like that, you do maybe a triangle pattern on your screws and it will be more stable. Use 3 screws. I PVC welded around the tops and sides of my T after putting the screws in. It's important to get that order of operations correct. And I have PVC caps that fit over the top that I can remove and reload the station. I cut the ends on an angle so that when it stands upright, it's still effectively shedding more water away from the entrance. What I used these for last year was I put cotton balls with flea and tick poison in them. So the rodents that I did not successfully trap and kill would not, again, not spreading granular poison on the ground seeping into the water. The rodents would instead take the cotton as nesting material back to their nests to build with it, and in that way I have effectively taken out some of the flea and tick population in the area in a roundabout way by making the nests of the rodents toxic to fleas and ticks. Repurposing this year to ant poison, and so what I have here is granulated sugar and borax. That's an old school laundry detergent that you will find sometimes in a grocery store, but these days you're more likely to find it in a hardware store. It's not in common use as laundry detergent anymore. It just isn't as popular as some of the Procter and Gamble brands, I guess. Maybe it is. Maybe this is a Procter and Gamble brand. I don't know, but it's not as popular as the ones you see on TV anymore. It contains boric acid, which is devastating to ant populations. Um, and what we're going to do is I'm taking my laundry detergent measuring spoon, putting 1 tablespoon in there. Try not to inhale it. I'm putting 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar in there. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water. And I'm going to use, you could use a popsicle stick, a pencil, whatever. And I'm trying to make a paste. But I've made my paste too thin, too much water. Because I want this to be a paste that I can shape into balls. So we're going to add more of each dry ingredient and mix it up. And yeah, I think this will work. You just measure until you get the consistency you want. And what I want is to be able to shape these into balls, put them in my bait station, drop it in the top, and leave it by the ant hills. So the ants will come, they'll eat this stuff, say, hey, that tastes good, and then they'll bring, bits of it back to their nest. And when they do that, they're going to be poisoning the nest unknowingly. And that's the ultimate goal. Because if you can get them to bring the poison back to their home, feed it to all the other ants and the queen, you have taken out your problematic ants. So we're just going equal parts borax to equal parts sugar. You'll notice I'm wearing gloves. It's because I have an eczema problem. And, you know, soaps, detergents, and, you know, rubbing alcohol, all that stuff is just hell on my hands. Alright. Yeah, okay, so you can see initially I went with way too much water. That little bit was enough to cover 6 total tablespoons, or 3 tablespoons of sugar plus 3 tablespoons of borax. Got it all nice and mixed. I'll take little bits of it and press it into a clump like that. I've got 3 bait stations, so basically I'm going to make 3 clumps. So that worked out pretty well. Well, basically 2 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of borax per bait station. And given how much water I initially put in and how much I had to adjust after that, I'm going to suggest you start, instead of using a watering can and pouring some out, you just measure out 1 tablespoon of water to 3 tablespoons of sugar and 3 tablespoons of borax. Or that also equals 1 teaspoon of water to 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of borax, because 1 teaspoon or 3 teaspoons is equal to 1 tablespoon. All right, so that is 1. That is 2. That is 3. And now I can take my gloves off. And I can put the caps onto my bait station. That'll keep the rain out and keep the sugar from melting. Thanks for watching.